Hello guys, this is William. This is part 4 of adding Firebase support to a React Native project. Probably the last part, and that's the part I'm really excited about because since part 3 offline I finish up some of the feature to add React Native support to the Fiber starter kit. So I did some features like setting page and just finish it up, and I put the link online. And so actually it was really cool to see you guys trying it out, posting some pictures, testing comments and things like this. And I noticed that overall the user experience is really poor. So yeah, you see, for instance, if I click on comment don't display. I think if I add one, now the first comment got displayed. So it just, yeah, I mean, it's a bit, so there's a bug here. You see, I went back and the feed reloaded, which is really, I would say, poor user experience. I think it's the same if I share a picture, and yeah, I'm also having a weird issue with set state and Firebase, which I didn't manage to solve. And actually, I'm quite excited about all these issues because I really feel that now it's time to add MobX to the project in order to solve all these state management issues. It's getting crazy, and and I started to implement some listeners in the code base, but at the end of the day, basically I realized that I was trying to re-implement basically what MobX is doing, and the reason I'm so happy about it is because to give you a little bit of background with my experience with my history with React. So the first time so it was a React web project, and we used Redux without just because that's what everyone was using. So we didn't, at the time, we were such newbies with React. We didn't even had experience using just React with set state. So, but it looked good on paper, and so we used it without much experience. And then in my first React Native project, so I stumbled upon MobX, and I really liked it. Especially, so on my first React project, I was using Firebase, and to me it seemed to make sense to since Firebase is with the real-time updates is using the observer pattern, and that's what essentially what MobX is implementing. I was quite excited to. It seemed to be a good fit to have the same paradigm, and it was to be honest. I had really good experience with it, but in this project I wanted to try to understand why, what are these libraries, these state management libraries, what are they really doing, because I had forgotten, because I never used just like the plain set state from React. And so essentially that's what I did in this project, where I really wanted to use, to not use a state management library until I reach a point where it doesn't make sense anymore. And I'm happy, to have reached that point, and I feel like now I have a better understanding of why I'm using MobX, and so I think that's gonna be what we're gonna do here. Just install MobX, create a couple of stores, and see. Hopefully, I think it should dramatically improve the user experience of the app and fix a couple of bugs along the way. So let's try it. So I'm gonna add MobX. I don't know if you can see my screen. And MobX React. And I think, so the first thing we're gonna do, I think in home, we're gonna create a home store, which will contain the, profile information, the feed, and also the personal feed, the one that is shown in the profile. All right. Okay, so it's installed. So let's see. We need to import the observable annotation from MobX. And probably also the computed annotation. One thing which I like to do with MobX is to use the strict mode, and I think we can do this in the entry point of the app. So I can import, use strict from MobX and invoke it here. Okay. And we're gonna import Firebase. All right. Yeah, so let's, I think I defined a couple of types here. Maybe, so this one we don't need anymore. I can remove this function. And I think I'm gonna move this to model. And so this we don't need anymore. All right. Okay, so the first observable we're going to create is the feed, and so I defined a type feed in model. Okay. So because I use a strict mode, I like to encapsulate each observable into a setter and getter. And I like it because then you don't have to use the action annotation, because the action annotation, if you have asynchronous code, can be a bit tricky to use. So I just like to use this pattern with MobX. So here return feed and the setter for feed. All right, and in the constructor we can invoke init yeah, and then we're going to create, so I'm doing an init function, which because constructor cannot be asynchronous, so I'm invoking it I'm writing a asynchronous function which I invoke in the constructor. And I think here I can just copy and paste some of the code I wrote, but which I actually just let me go on GitHub, which I just deleted actually. Firebase, what's the name? Firebase loading. Components. Yeah, so I think my function is going to be very close to this. Okay, so we can, I think here it's feed entry. This feed. So I'm listening to the feed information and set it to the observable. So I'm listening to the feed for each post. I'm getting the profile information of the post, and so return and then I return the feed entry, which contains the post and the profile information. Looks good, I think. Now I think that I need to, so if we go in app.js, I think I need to inject this store. Or can I, because, yeah. So essentially here I should initialize it in this component, but this is a React navigation stack navigator. So what I'm gonna do is use a provider instead, so I can inject the store in the different components of Home. So actually, let me check MobX React how to do this. So let's check the documentation. All right. So I assume provider is in the MobX React package, and React, and I think you need to do /native if you're using React Native, I think. But yeah, let's see. Doesn't seem to be documented. It's just from memory, but I don't know, maybe things have changed. And let's call it let's just call it store, and we do new store. Which we can import from here, and so I need to export it here. Export default as all right, and so now let's try to use it in Explore. So yeah, exactly like this. And I need to import these two annotations. Inject observer from MobX React /native. Okay. this I don't need anymore. I don't need this anymore. And so now I have the store available in properties, sorry. And so here it's called post. Maybe do I need to? Okay. So here there's a small renaming. So I can do feed from the store. And let's see where it's used. It's used here. Okay. Let's see if it works. It's probably not gonna work, but let's see if we can fix some of the issues. Strangely, it seems to work. So now if I go to comments, go back, it didn't seem to reload the feed, but so it seems much better. Did we lose the loading state at the very beginning? Let's see. So I'm gonna add some delay to see if everything is as expected. So I'm gonna do a set timeout here, just to test. But this is really why, and now I know why I'm using MobX, and it's exactly for this. You see, like it's been a couple of minutes, and already, like I think we fixed, like an important user experience issue with the state management. And yesterday it took me, so this like has been like 10 minutes or something. Yesterday it took me more than an hour to try to do it with set state and implement listeners and unsubscribe and with component will unmount and so on, and I couldn't achieve the same result. Everything was so buggy, and so yeah, it's pretty exciting, and especially now we're gonna use it here. We only use it for feed, but we're gonna use it for profile, comments, and so on. So I'm pretty excited. I need to make this async and add some, let's say 5 seconds, just to see what happens when. Okay, yeah, so you see the loading here, it's loading the feed, and if I go to comments, go back, hopefully the feed is still here. Great. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's save this. And maybe we can do the same with profile information. Just store the profile information in the home store. So okay, so we can create an observable. Getters, setters, same boilerplate. I guess that here also we're gonna listen to, so we're gonna select our document, our profile information in as a query. So collection, users, document is UI or UID, and UID we get it from Firebase authentication. So it's Firebase auth current user. And on snapshot, and I think we can just do simply assign this profile to so we get the snapshot and then use data. It's a bit okay, I don't know. Let's try. So apparently this is not used anymore. Yes, we can remove profile and post from the state. And we remove this. And profile now comes from the store instead of the state. So we need to figure out the flow typing here for store. I see I get an error, of course. All right. So requires one argument, but was called with. So let me try. Check the documentation. Firestore. Real-time updates. Is it possible to listen to a single document on snapshot? On snap. Okay, yeah, so it seems to be doc. Okay, so we get the. It looks like we get the data, the materialized document directly based on this. So actually, that's great. If I go to home store, I can do. Snapshot.data just based on, and this is a synchronous function based on the documentation. Let's see. Yeah, it worked. Cool. Okay, maybe let's do a last one if it's quick. So comments. Okay, here's the display, but I don't know if you saw earlier, but comments were quite buggy. I think if I take let's say. There are comments written somewhere here. So you see there is one comment, it doesn't display. If I do test, then the first comment now shows up. That's terrible. So let's see if we can fix it quickly. And maybe let me save this. All right. So comments. So here I have the Firebase query, and then I fetch the profiles and I set it in the state. The profile information we don't need. We can use one from the main store, the home store, sorry. So inject, I mean, just copy from Explore. and add the import. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. All right, and profile. Now we get from the store, so profile this props.store. Okay. Okay, so this we need to fix with the typing later. So the list of comments seems to be buggy. Actually, I'm not sure why. Comments. Ah, yes, I know why. So, yeah, I mean, here it's not related to the state management, but there is a bug which is, and this is why like the command don't show up, and then if I push, it appears. Simply because this for each is not asynchronous. So here I'm doing set state after the for each, but there is I'm not waiting for code to be executed, essentially. And yeah, that's the issue. I mean, actually, potentially this we could clean without even using MobX. But let me think. I mean, let's try if maybe we get something cleaner, or I don't know, or maybe it changes nothing. I think it might not make a big difference here, but let's see. Just for fun, so we can create comments store and I should put it in here just for prototyping quickly. I put it in the same file. Of course, I will clean it up later. So class, so it has an observable observe. I need to import observable and computed from MobX. Okay, setter, getters, same boilerplate as usual. constructor which invokes init and our init function. So let's see. Okay, we can remove, so I can put this code here, remove comments from the state. So we get the collection of comments. Push. Let me get rid of the loading for now. Asynchronous init. Okay, we can get the post ID as parameter. So post ID is ID of to whom the comments belong to. Okay. Okay. So one thing I could do here is push every time I one of these asynchronous function finishes. I could push it directly to comment, which would trigger a re-rendering. But I could lose I could lose the sorting of the document, which actually I just realized here I'm not sorting by timestamp, which I should. So maybe let me do that first. How can I think I should have an example here. So order by timestamp. So I think, so if I go back again to home store, I think so I need to store the promises and okay. So comments, okay. Maybe I can create comment entry type. Right. So here I'm storing an array of promises that return a comment entry. So here so query for each comment document I push a promise. So let me see. All right. So the promise returns the comment entry. And yes, I can do the assignment. Post ID. So this we can remove, and so now comments belong to comments store. So these props. I might need to redo the adding comment as well in the store. So this one we get from the store. No, it's comments store. Okay, let's see. And I will need to, probably I will fix offline. I mean I will do the whole cleanup offline. So I think here the benefit of using MobX is not really I would say the only benefit, so here in using it for comments is really so here the comments display nicely, seems to work quite well. The only benefit I think is just to separate the component from the state management. So instead of having everything tangled into the component, I'm gonna have a clear document store, comment store, which contains the state management and the comments component, which just deal with the displaying the information. So I'll have a nice separation of concern. I feel like that in this case, in this scenario, this is the main benefit. But as you've seen in the previous scenario with Home Store, the benefits of using MobX, I think, are really dramatic. But also, let me know your thoughts. Do you agree a bit with the way I'm approaching such problems? I've tried Redux a couple of times. I've never been really convinced. Maybe I'm missing something. If I am, let me know. And so I think that's it for part 4. I'm just gonna clean up things up offline. I'm gonna get some coffee first. But I hope this was useful to you. Keep me posted, and let me know what you think. And have a great day. Happy hacking. Bye.